Hello, my people. Today we're going to look at some composite solid figures. What is a composite solid figure, you ask? You know you want to know. A composite solid figure is a combination of several 3D figures put together to form one new figure. Or it could be a 3D figure with a hole cut out, some sort of hole missing. Basically, you're taking one shape and another shape, put them together. Or you're taking one shape and removing a piece of it. So to find our volume, it's almost common sense of a composite figure. You find the volume of each piece. You take each piece individually, find its volume, and then add them together if these things are being put together. Or if there's a hole missing, you subtract away the volume of the missing section. Doesn't sound that bad, especially when you see what it looks like. We've done some different solid figures. Here's an example. The Service Club is building models of storage chests, like the one shown, to donate to a charity. Find the volume of the chest to the nearest tenth. So at the end, we're going to round to our tenths place if we have a decimal. So if I look at this composite figure, it's two pieces. It's a rectangular prism on the bottom, and then there's a half of a cylinder laying on top. So it's a cylinder flattened out and only half of a cylinder. Remember we did semicircles? Well, now we have a semi-cylinder, I guess you could call that. It's not really a name, but we'll make it up. So I'm going to find the volume of this rectangular prism, and then I'll find the volume of this half of a cylinder, and I'm going to add them together because they're being put together. Let's look at the rectangular prism first. That's the easy one. The volume for the prism, rectangular prism, is length times width times height. These are all formulas we've talked about, and you really should be making yourself a sheet that you can reference, a reference sheet for yourself of all the different formulas. You should label it rectangular prism, volume, length times width times height. Okay, so it's 30 for the length, 25 for the width, and 50 for the height. Now, when we did rectangular prisms, remember, you're just multiplying three numbers. So it doesn't even matter what order you put them in. You might have said 30 times 50 times 25, or 25 times 30 times 50. It doesn't really matter. You're just multiplying three numbers. So some quick calculation here. 30 times 25 times 50 gives me a volume of 37,500 for that rectangular prism. 37,500. Okay, now I need to add something to that. I need to add the volume of this half of a cylinder. So let me start with a cylinder. Cylinder volume formula we use is pi times radius squared times height. Okay, so my volume of my cylinder is going to be pi 3.14 times the radius squared. Well, let's take a look at this circle. We don't have anything labeled on this circle, but this bottom line is 25. Therefore, this top line is 25. My top line goes all the way across this circle. That's a diameter. I need to cut that in half to get a radius. So the radius of that circle for that cylinder is half of 25, or 12.5. So 12.5 is my radius. Don't forget that has to get squared or multiplied by itself. Times the height of the cylinder. Be really careful here. Remember, the height of a cylinder goes from circle to circle. In this case, half circle to half circle. So the height of the cylinder kind of goes from this front to the back. Well, the front to back line is the same as this front to back line, which is 50. So there's my height of my cylinder, but I don't have a whole cylinder, I only have a half a cylinder. So then when I get all done, I'm going to multiply it by a half, or in this case, I'll use 0.5. So let's grab our calculator. 3.14 times 12.5 squared, or you can just do 12.5 twice, times 50 times 0.5. Gives me a big long number. And that big long number looks like it's 12,265 point, and I've got three numbers in my decimal, and they say the tenths place, which is one digit. So if I round my decimal to the tenths place, it's going to be 0.6 because it's 0.625. And now these two numbers have to get added. So I've got 37,500 plus 12,265.6 for a grand total volume of that composite figure of 49,765.6. And adding a label of units. Well, these are centimeter labels. And volume is always a three-dimensional or cubic unit. Jackpot. One down, one to go. Here we put two together. On this one, we'll take it apart. The unused roll of paper towels is shown, and they want to know the volume of that unused roll. Well, the unused roll of paper towels has a hole through the center. You know the roll of toilet paper, paper towels, whatever it is, has a hole in the center. That's where you put a little tube. So this right here, this little dotted section in the middle, that's a hole. That's missing. So if I find the volume of this whole cylinder, the entire thing, and then find the volume of the missing part in the middle, I'll subtract that away. So first, let's do the volume of the whole thing. Well, these are both going to be cylinders this time. So it's pi times radius squared times height is my formula. So 3.14 times the radius of the entire thing. Well, take a look at this dotted line across the bottom, this pink line. That's all the way across this diameter. That's 12. And I want all the way, I want halfway radius. My radius will be 6. So the radius 6 squared times the height of this cylinder, which is 26, bottom to top. All right, some quick buttons here. 3.14 times 6 squared, or I can make that 36 right away if I want, times 26 gives me a volume of 2,939.04. That's the entire cylinder. But now I got a hole in the center that I have to subtract away. So that hole in the center is also a cylinder, and that has the same height, but a different radius. So it's pi times the radius. Well, again, this 4.2 goes all the way across. So halfway across, half of 4.2, 2.1 times 2.1 squared times the height, which is the same, 26. So 3.14 times 2.1 squared times 26 gives me a total of 360.0324. And then I'll subtract. 2939. Subtracting because this is missing. So it's this minus the amount that's missing. 2939.04 minus 360.0324. Now I got to do a little bit of rounding. Well, let's see. It's 2579. They don't tell me what to round to. And after the point, it's 0.00. So guess what? I'm going to call it 2579. I'm going to label that with my centimeters and my cubic units. And there's my volume. Just take a second and think, am I going to add these volumes together, or am I going to subtract them because there's a piece missing? And it's a simple one step at a time. All right, good luck.